All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm getting ready to bring up a very talented comic here. This gentleman has played here for the last 3 or 4 weeks. It's been an honor to be able to bring him up. His name is Brad Hutchins, and please give a big round of applause and let him come up and do his comedy. Come on, Brad! Woohoo! Here you go.
Don't be gentle. Does it?
Yankee fans? Any Yankee fans? I know there's Yankee fans in the house. You guys probably saw Derek Jeter have his number 2 retired. I lost mine. You guys see that today? While you're doing your Mother's Day thing? Because I know there's Yankee fans here because somebody retired at number 2 in the bathroom. Hey-o. Speaking of Mother's Day, we got any mothers here? Mothers? A lot of mothers. Y'all, where's your kids? Why aren't your kids here with you? Don't care about you? Alright, no mothers. I want to tell you something inspiring today. Here's something inspiring. I have a very, very good friend, saw him last night. Noticed, he's about my age, 46. I noticed that his hair game was very good last night. In fact, it was very, very impressive because this is a balding man. Got a lot of forehead going, and noticed all night. It's just like, man, his hair is just amazing. I asked him about it afterward, and I said, "Who's doing your hair? I gotta see that stylist. She's doing a great job." And he says, "No, it's not stylist or anything else. Hair in a can." Sprays it on his hair. So if you're losing your hair, know that's going to be okay. Brad, why don't you have kids? You're 46. They ask me that. I have dogs. I've had dogs for a long time. I just don't want kids. But it's not just an emotional thing. I've actually thought this out. And I think a lot of things, kind of like an economist, I weigh them. I put a value on them and I weigh them. So, dogs versus kids. Your dog, if you do this right, you neuter your dog to begin with, he's not going to get your neighbor's daughter pregnant. Number one, because you've neutered him, okay? Number 2, and I actually looked this up on Google because I wasn't too sure, but it won't fertilize. The chromosomes don't match, the egg won't fertilize, she won't get pregnant. So that's one thing in favor of dogs, cannot get the neighbor's daughter pregnant. There are some advantages to kids, though, right? Your kids, very likely, now I'm sorry sorry to those people who this has affected, but very likely your kid's not going to die of cancer at 14 or 15 years old, like your dog will. But the thing that really tips the table for me toward dogs is, if you catch your dog screwing its bed, you can tell about it on stage. You catch your kid screwing its bed, you're not going to tell anybody about that, let alone on a comedy stage. So I'm going to tell you guys about the time I caught my dog screwing its bed. This is my dog Bosco. He passed away about a year ago. He was 15. Very, very cool dog. When I got him, I got him from the Mission Viejo Animal Shelter. He was a puppy. He was all 28 pounds, but he was growing quickly. Yay, how about that? He was all 28 pounds, but he was growing very, very quickly, and he outgrew his first bed. So I went to PetSmart one night, and I got him a larger new bed. And I gave him his bed and showed it to him, and sat him down in the living room and stuff. And he looked like he liked it and everything. So I went in the kitchen, was making a protein shake or something like that, and all of a sudden I hear this rustling, this terrible rustling. And it was just whoo, 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 whoo. And I'm like, what is going on here? So I go in there, and Bosco has propped up his bed. He's like this, and he's just going at it with the bed. And I'm just like, oh my goodness. I walk over to Bosco, and I kind of tap him on the back. I say, buddy, we got to stop this. And he kind of looks at me like he's been caught. And then he kind of stops and drops the bed, and he falls over on his side. And I'm like, oh no, did you hurt yourself? And I look over, and he is how would I describe it? He's fully erect. I think that's the word. And I don't know if you guys have ever seen a dog fully erect, but this looked like he had a red femur with one of the ends cut off of it, sticking straight out and dangling as if attached by a small piece of bubble gum to his crotch. It was just dangling there. And I panicked, and the reason I panicked is because long ago, before we had the internet, the World Wide Web, we had this thing called news groups, and I was a college student, and we had access to the internet, and I read on news groups one night about how they breed English bulldogs. And the way they breed English bulldogs, it was a very detailed account of it, and this is the kinds of things you read on the internet, when you don't have anything to do and you got too much beer. And the account of this is that they have to hold the female very, very, very carefully. These dogs cannot breed on their own. And then they insert the male, and they have to hold the female carefully because she can break the male's penis. And if she breaks the male's penis, the stud, they got to pull the stud, and with his broken penis, they probably got to put him down. So I'm recalling this. This is 10 years after I'd read this, that I see my poor dog, falling over on the floor with his erect penis completely out. There's no way I could see geometrically that this thing's ever going to fit back in. I'm actually scared for him at this point. So I call my neighbor. My neighbors across the street are this old Jewish couple from New York. And I call her up. They had a male dog, and I figured, okay, I'll call them up and ask them, what to do. They would know what to do. I call her up. I go, Shirley, I got a big problem. Bosco, he was humping his bed, and there's been a terrible accident, and she can hear the terror in my voice that I'm not playing a joke on her. She says, bring him downstairs. So I carefully pick him up, and I'm holding him by the shoulders like this, and his leg, his left leg's here, his right leg's here, and his middle leg's just dangling out. And I carry him down the stairs, and I open the door, and she's met me at the garage. And this old woman, she's 86 years old, she looks at Bosco, and she points, and she says, oh my God, you've got to take him to the vet. So I carefully place Bosco in my Mustang GT. Her husband, Irv, he says, I'm going to come with you, put him in the car, and we race from Lake Forest through the streets of Mission Viejo down to the emergency vet, which is right next door to the animal shelter. And, we get there, and I'm going to drive as fast as I can to get there because I'm very concerned about him. And we get there, and I take him out of the car, and Irv and I walk to the vet, and this time I'm carrying him, kind of like he's on his side, and I'm under his side, and I'm carrying him. And we get to the vet, and the vet opens the door, and he says, what's the problem? And I said, well, he was humping his bed, and I don't think he's going to have an ability to get the erection back in, and I'm really concerned. And, I lift his leg up, and, it's all normal. And he's like, well, that's kind of weird. I'm like, yeah, well, it was really scary. I didn't think anything could happen here. 20 seconds later, right behind us, in comes this guy carrying a Labradoodle, just like I had been carrying Bosco, down the stairs. He carries him in, and this dog has what looks like a red femur with one of the ends cut off, dangling like a piece of bubble gum from in between his legs. And I just pointed out, I said, he was like that. And the vet says, I've seen 2 of these in the past year, if that. Never 2 in a night. There's got to be something in the water or something. But you know what? That is like the real advantage of dogs over kids. You'd never tell that story about your kid on an open mic.
An open mic.
Here's some things I've learned about open mics. Okay, it's a tough hustle. This is a great open mic because there's so much music and stuff.
And love.
Yeah, Mark's done a good job with this.
Stop it.
And yeah, I mean, this is, I've got like a real sound system. I'm amazed. But when you compete for time at a comedy open mic, this is the kind of stuff you compete against. Is half the women who get up are going to spend 5 minutes talking about their vagina. I'm not lying. Half the men who stand up are going to spend 5 minutes either talking about their dicks or talking about how their dads are gay. That's just what men do. If you have a black guy get up at an open mic, his bit is always about his job interview where they asked him to be on the basketball team, the rec league basketball team. That's the bit. If you ever have an Asian, Their joke is, where are you from? Okay, it doesn't matter, right? It's like, oh yeah, where are you from? Okay, well, we already know the joke, you're Asian. Okay. You get a Muslim who gets up, and it's always, well, I'm not a terrorist. Okay, we get it. You know, why not just come up with some things that are, you know, like everyday life experiences we can all share that, you know, I can't predict what you're going to say when you get up. I don't know. That's one of the troubles with open mics. But I'd like to answer the Asian people's question. Where am I from? I am a 5th generation Californian. My great-great-grandfather had a ranch, which is now like half of the city of Downey. And the other thing I remember from my family history is they had a donkey, and the donkey developed some intestinal problems. So I don't know, with the technology of the time, this is the early 1900s, they rigged up a hose, and they gave the donkey an enema. And that's my family history. That's where I'm from. I mention all this because it's kind of the equivalent of, you know, you come to a music open mic or whatever, and everybody wants you to play Freebird. That's the comedy equivalent of all that. And you know, I hope that what I love about this open mic is that it's not either the comedy or the music equivalent of any of that. You know, we just have people coming up, telling their stories, singing the songs that matter to them, just being amazing. I'm going to close with this bit because you guys liked it the last time I did it here. You know I'm not a stand-up comic. I don't make money doing this. My actual job is Indian tech support. I am tech support to the people of India. People of India call me, you know, during their day, which is night here. I usually start about 7 p.m. And they ask me their technical questions, and I solve them for them. To make them comfortable, I have an Indian name. My Indian name is Vijay. Vijay Swami. You know, they'll call me and they'll say, I need some help with this. And I go, okay, well, my name's Vijay Swami. Oh, yeah, how do you spell that? And I say Vijay, just like you'd think. Swami. Vijay with a V. With a V, not BJ. Right, there you go. Okay. Vijay Swami. Parenswami. And then, you know, because I have an Indian name, they're very comfortable with me, and they'll let me help them. Anyway, I'm not the first person in my family to do tech support to the people of India. My dad was actually a pioneer in this area. And he too had an Indian name. His Indian name was Vijay Swami. Vijay, Parenswami, which makes me Vijay Swami Jr. Or as you know, my regulars call me VJJ. See, I got to her vagina joke and she left. That is terrible.
That's awesome.
Sometimes I'm on the phone with them, and you know, they don't believe that, you know, I'm really Indian, and they'll say, you don't sound Indian, Brad. And I say, you know, you don't sound Indian either when I do this bit on. They don't say you don't sound. Damn, I screwed that joke up. You don't sound Indian, VJJ. And I say, you don't sound Indian either when I do this bit on stage. Last part of that, I was on the phone last week with one guy. He was a real obnoxious jerk, and he said, you mind talking faster? I can't understand a thing you're saying. And so, you know, I talk faster for him. My name is Brad Hutchings. All my stuff is on yogurteater.com. You'll see this recording there. I'm periscoping it now. I hope you'll check it out, and hope you guys enjoy the rest of the open mic.